Pop Culture Pastor.
Good morning. Good morning. Cody.
Good morning.
Yesterday, the Department of Education officially launched their application for federal student loan substitutionary atonement.
Nice.
Yeah, right? They call it forgiveness, but I don't like the wording. I don't think it's correct.
It's off by a little bit.
Because the money doesn't get forgiven. The government's just paying it for you, which means somebody's paying it for you.
I feel I have paid it over 35 times already. So if someone else wants to take over, go for it.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Student loans thing.
/ if the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation wants to take over paying for it, I'm good with that too. Either one, the government or Bill and Melinda Gates.
Are they offering?
No.
They
just have a foundation that does charitable work. And at this point, I'm a charitable cause. So
are you? Okay.
I'll name it and claim it.
That was just kind of random. Why Bill and Melinda Gates? Why not Jeff Bezos?
Because I don't know if he has a charitable organization. His ex-wife does.
Yeah.
And if she wants to help pay.
Basically, anyway, you are open to anyone helping you pay your student loans. Well, aren't you going to get some forgiven?
Word.
Yeah. Right?
God willing.
You're going to fall. You fall into this, I'm sure. Those making less than a lot of money per year?
Yeah.
We're definitely in that.
This is me.
Yeah, it's me too, as it would turn out. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But good morning. Good morning. I know that's a touchy subject. Some people are upset about the student loan substitutionary atonement program. And I get it.
I don't. I mean, you look at the budget that we spend on a lot of things, and it's like, holy cow. And then you look at the budget that we spend on educational things, and it's like, we might be able to raise that up a little bit and maybe subtract like 1% from the military budget, which is astronomical.
What if just hear me out.
I'm just saying 1%.
Outlandish theory. What would happen if we took all the money we spent on military and fractioned it? Basically spent 2% of what we now spend on military and took that money and placed it into the idea of becoming the most educated and diplomatic nation on the planet. A nation that was smart and was committed to teaching its people that everyone had value and that we should be right now we're committed to quote unquote being the policeman of the world, which I don't know if we are very good at that anyways, or if that's our true intention. But what if we were committed to being the peacemaker of the world?
We would be a utopia.
And well, probably not. This is real, man. Why are you making fun of my idea?
I'm not. I was just saying
if we made education free and our education was pointed at us being people who were good communicators. I don't know how you teach empathy, but
quick to listen and slow to anger.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's how you get some more empathy.
I'm just wondering if that would work. And in my head, it does because we've never tried it. No one has. Maybe the ancient Greeks.
I was going to say maybe.
And their culture kind of spreads around the world for a while for no apparent reason because they weren't the empires that you hear about. The Persians, eventually the Persians come. And anyways, my point is that ancient Greek culture spreads around the world and it's not because of their military might. It's just something to think about. Anyways, good morning. Was this conversation too heavy for the first time we talked today?
It's pretty light and fluffy for me.
Yeah. Coming up next, we'll talk about something really hard. Like the tax codes or something.
Yes. All the tax codes.
Stay tuned for that. We're not talking about that. Okay, Cody, here's something we should probably talk about. This would have been foreign to us as children. More me, because I'm a little bit older than you. How long is it when you're a kid before you start remembering the internet? Your memories probably started about the same time the internet's blowing up.
So mid to late 90s.
Yeah, I mean mid 90s is really, the internet is in full swing.
We didn't have internet access in school, like the students didn't, but like
Shanoot.
Teachers were using it. So yeah, I mean, I'm in first grade in like 95.
Mm-hmm.
It's there.
Lil Cody.
Yeah.
We need to have an artist draw up a Lil Cody pop culture pastor series. 'Cause that would be awesome. Anyways, I want to talk about something that's come along with our technology that apparently now is causing problems.
Decrease in attention span?
No, not real problems.
Oh, okay.
We don't talk about real problems on this show. We talk about problems that we think are problems, but probably aren't problems. But several months ago, a Reddit user.
Okay.
Does anything ever good happen on Reddit?
Not that I'm aware of, but maybe.
So many of these stories start with on Reddit. I don't even know what Reddit is. Several months ago, a Reddit user took to the platform to ask if anyone else felt, quote, unsettled by the use of the thumbs up emoji.
What?
Yeah, they shared some examples of workplace messaging conversations. It says, quote, most people at work use the thumbs up reaction all the time, the person wrote. I don't use it much. I either heart reactions or reply, even if it's a short great or thanks. I also feel like I use too many exclamation marks, but that's a different story. Anyway, I think it's normal to thumbs up messages, but I feel like it's an unsettling response. Does anybody feel this way? It prompts an entire thread and it is an example of a rising generational debate. According to today.com, are certain emojis perceived in a context that's anything other than literal? The short answer is yes. And now there's a ginormous discussion about how the thumbs up emoji is passive aggressive and you shouldn't use it.
I get accused of this with my text messaging.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a K from me, that's me abruptly ending the conversation, allegedly.
I've gotten a few Ks from you.
It literally is just me acknowledging I got the message and okay, we're good.
That's not how I received it, Cody. I received it and felt like you were shrugging me off and immediately added you to my list of people that I will kill. No, that was a joke.
That escalated way too quickly.
We'll be back. No, Cody, but this is a real thing. Jokes aside, this is a real thing. And I think here's the problem. Here's the key to the problem. They ask a question. Are certain emojis perceived in a context that's anything other than literal? Here's the problem. Our perception, if we're receiving it in the context of something other than literal, well, that's on us, is it not?
I would presume so, although like the emoji that I struggled with for a little bit, just because I'm old, was the skeleton head, the skull.
That means in most of the context now, it means I laughed so hard at something I'm now dead.
Yes.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
But anyone over the age of 25 doesn't immediately recognize that.
It took like a solid month, and I'm like, so we're no longer using the rolling, crying, laughing emojis.
They literally give us emojis for that. Yeah, I don't understand. And at some point, when is our culture, like, this is serious. There are people out there that be like, you shouldn't use the thumbs up emoji anymore. It's passive aggressive. And if you use that, you're being passive aggressive. Like, at what point do we stop this? Because we do it with everything. We do it with pretty much any hand signals. I don't know how all the emojis aren't passive aggressive in some way. It's like, listen, the thumbs up emoji isn't passive aggressive. The sender is.
Either the sender or the reader. just because,
Right.
I mean, literally, we read into everything that our brain receives, whether it is correctly or justifiably or incorrectly. And like we add extra meaning to something where, like, if my wife comes home and she doesn't give a long soliloquy of how her day went, I might assume it must have been a bad day. And then go in and bombard her with questions where it might have been, it was just a good day. I don't have a lot to say about it. I was reading into it potentially in that scenario. So, I mean, we do that even with face-to-face interactions. And I think it's a lot worse when it's not face-to-face, because then we're just left to our imaginations of what the meaning is behind it. That's what I would say to this Reddit user, because that's ridiculous.
Well, and that's you nailed it. That really is the problem, that we're not face to face, that we've found ourselves with our technology in a place where we do most of our communicating not face to face. That's a huge problem for many reasons, actually. One is this, where we pretend that little cartoon emojis are somehow, evil. And,
everyone's out against us.
Like let's look at the AOK sign with your hand.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of Donald Trump's presidency, well, for many of us, especially people my age, that was, you would put that down by your leg or down low somewhere, and then you would trick someone into looking at it.
And then you get hit in the shoulder.
That's right. It was a game, and if you made them look, everybody would look down, and then they would go, because they knew you got a free punch to their upper arm.
Yeah.
Listen, we're not proud of this. It was what it was, but these are the games we liked playing. And then, so people were seeing photos of people doing that. It became popular to do that in photos. And somehow, because some racist dude used it somewhere else, it became, that's a symbol for racist white supremacists. And I was like, no, it's you don't get to just take something that someone else's thing and make it whatever you want it to make.
Literally, there's so many movies that use it,
right?
That it wasn't meant in that context within a racial tension place.
It's an 80s thing, and apparently you don't understand, but you don't get to take someone else's thing and then put it into your own context and just make something up out of whole cloth, right? But that's what we've done with emojis, right? This is what they're doing here. The other part, so one, we have much worse human-to-human contact in that way. The other way we have much worse human-to-human contact is because now kids grow up with so little of it, they don't have social cues, physical social cues. They don't read them. We're much more socially awkward. And it leaves us more alone. We develop insecurities. We don't want to be in public. That's not good.
No. It just creates job security for me within mental health. To be honest.
Well,
because
there's the rosy glass look at it.
I mean, when you have social anxiety and fear of being in public and fear of connecting with people, it limits you on your experiences and on the way you function within society. And then it could easily lead down a road of depression and a bunch of other things. And that's not where we want anyone to be. That we want everyone to have the ability to cope and to process and to perceive things in a typical light, I guess. That it is what it is meant to be, or close to it. Because, I mean, sometimes I might be passive-aggressive with my Ks in my text just because...
I knew it!
I'm wanting to end this conversation, but...
Oh, it's over.
But that's not what it usually means, and if you don't perceive it that way, then really is there any harm besides my negative self-thinking or whatever?
We're going to get a little more pastoral here than our pop culture side. Let's go to the more pastoral side. But yet I'm going to do it without really talking about God. This is just about us. Okay? You were made for connection. real connection with people. We were made for talking with each other and connecting and being around each other. We were made for that, literally. I know that because the worst form of torture humans have been able to devise is isolation.
Mm-hmm.
You know those tanks that they use on Stranger Things?
Yep.
Like those were actually made back in like the 60s and 70s, the sensory deprivation tanks. They did a bunch of experiments with those, and they found that most people would start hearing things after like 20, 30 minutes. Just under an hour, like 75% of people would start hallucinating. Normal people. Do you know why? Because your brain was made for connection, and when you take that away, your brain starts to break.
What is the worst thing that can happen within prison outside of getting beat up or killed? It is getting thrown into isolation or solitary confinement.
Yep.
So
we called it the hole when I did my hard time.
Oh, yeah. Prison Dave.
It's a good life. It's a good life. There are a lot of bad ideas out there.
There's a few at least.
As humans, we have lots of bad ideas, but I think I may have found the worst idea ever.
I'm ready for it.
An idea that ignores a fundamental truth about us, the way that our bodies work, the things we need. Like how many hours of sleep do you think you need a day?
6 to 10 on average.
Yeah. Right.
I personally need 8. So
8 hours. That's about the average. We currently sleep about, on average, 8 hours a day. And it is necessary, according to the National Sleep Foundation.
And according to a lot of mental health textbooks. I'll point that one out.
Also, according to the National Sleep Foundation, more than 1/3 of Americans don't get the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep they need each night.
This is also true.
There are many reasons for that. We're the busiest people ever. And busy by like, we don't do anything important, just things we think are important. And we have trouble winding down at night. Smartphones have been a problem with that. But let me tell you this mother of all bad ideas. What if you could customize the necessity of sleep with tech?
I don't want that.
What if there was a device that makes you and your body feel like you have slept for 8 hours, but in just 2 hours?
That sounds like sorcery.
This sounds like the beginning of a horror movie, actually.
Terminator.
Like, honestly, why do we do this? What? There's these areas where science just goes a little too far.
I don't need 22 hours to be awake.
Right, exactly. First of all, you've got issues if you're just like, man, if I could just sleep 2 hours a day so I could work 22 hours, like full stop. You got a problem.
Yeah.
That's not what God wants for you.
I get it. The new season of Netflix or Rings of Power comes out and you want to binge it all in one day or evening. Don't do it.
Like, look, I've pulled an all-nighter in my youth. Never once did I do it and then think, oh, that was a great idea. No, you regret it. Always.
I will regret this for the next 3 days.
Okay, so there's this theory of sleep simulation that's out there. The idea is that instead of sleeping for 8 hours a day, we could sleep for less time if we could customize our sleep with technology. This sounds really bad, Cody.
It won't work.
So apparently there's these people that are studying this sleep technology, and they think in the future that it's going to be possible that we will be able to use technology to customize our sleep and get the same benefits as 8 hours of sleep, and that we would do this by using a combination of light, sound, and other stimuli to simulate the sleep cycle. There's a lot of S words in there, and I'd like to add another one who might be behind this whole thing. Could it be Satan?
You don't simulate sleep.
Why are you trying to take my sleep?
Yeah. There's a reason that God made it that we needed rest.
Yeah, I mean, this is just this is nuts. So this device they're working on would work by stimulating the parts of the brain that are responsible for sleep, which, I mean, just listen to the words you're using. That's like an oxymoron. You're going to stimulate the part of the brain that operates when you're sleeping.
Yeah. What effect will this have on the rest of your body parts is my question.
Okay, well, it's going to send signals that fool the brain into thinking that the body is at a full night's rest. By the way, without your body getting a full night's rest.
When I'm sleeping, I assume my heart rate's doing something completely different than if I'm running across town or trying to lift something heavy or doing whatever it is I do.
It says there are challenges to this technology. They understand there's challenges. Their first idea of a challenge, it would need to be able to accurately mimic the brain's sleep patterns. Okay, that's not what I was thinking of with the challenges. Then they said second, it would need to be safe. That's their second biggest priority.
Safety is always first.
Safety first. What's wrong with you? There's no point in reducing our sleep necessity, they say, if it comes at the expense of our health. Yeah, that's the rub, isn't it? Why do we do this as humans? Why do we do this thing where we're like, we want to ignore our essential identity? Like what makes us us? That we are temporal beings, that we are finite, that these meat socks we wear, like these meat puppets, these bags of bones we are. And you think that you're going to somehow improve on God's technology.
I mean, what happens if they hack into this sleep technology? And then it's like a bad version of Inception.
Yeah, I mean, messing around with the brain's never good.
No,
because we don't really understand it. That's the crazy part is it'd be really interesting to talk about a neurologist about this or someone that studies the brain because they would say, oh, this seems exceedingly dangerous because we don't really know that much about the brain.
And I mean, just look at how technology has adapted our brains anyway. I don't know if more is going to fix it.
Like, are we about to engineer ourselves into a version of humanity that can't sleep right without machinery? I've decided, Cody, that these people are insane. These people are studying ways that they can enhance our sleep by allowing us to hook ourselves up to some sort of machines and sleep yet less and trick our body into thinking we're sleeping more. I'm reading some about their ideas and what they're working with here. They say this, it's difficult to trick our body into thinking it has slept when it hasn't. Well, you don't say.
Too little sleep, too much sleep is not good. So if you are an insomniac or a hypo-insomniac, it's not a good place to be because physically and mentally and even spiritually, it's just not good for you. There's too much empirical evidence that shows.
Let me tell you a couple of the things they're working with here. Not only are they trying to hook up machinery to the brain and stimulate the part of the brain that is the part that's active when you're sleeping. They're trying to, they've considered sleeping in a floating tank, like you floating in water.
Okay, I've seen 11 do it, and they've done this before.
Yeah, they've said while all-night floats can be extremely beneficial, they conveniently don't tell us how.
Just get a waterbed.
They said they're not a viable substitute for natural sleep. Waterbeds were terrible. That's why no one has one anymore.
Yeah, I had one as a kid that didn't have the tubes in it. It was just a big bubble. Yeah, not good.
No. Often I think in my mind, it seems like a foreign concept that we once upon a time, the height of luxury was laying on a mattress filled with water. And it was never enough. You'd get on that thing and sink right down to the baseboard. Anyways, yeah. In the 80s, we just thought that was super luxurious.
I was born in 89, so
right.
I got to experience it.
You spent a lot of time there. Also, they've been experimenting with making your body feel like it's gotten enough sleep with the help of electromagnetism.
That sounds dangerous.
Floating beds are here, which is not defined right because you're not actually sleeping in a bed. You'll be suspended in midair and the magnetic force will allow you to get a deeper and more restful sleep.
Nope.
That's what we call that levitating where I'm from, and that's bad news, sir.
I've seen enough movies to tell you you'll need a young priest and an old priest.
Listen to the drawbacks they list on this. It could be expensive to implement.
What?
Second, there could be safety concerns.
I feel like they did this in one of the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies. That one of the villains like put on a sleep mask and like was out for like just a couple hours and then was able to do evil things for 20 plus hours.
Well, they say that it's possible that the magnetic field could have some negative effects on your health. Yeah, this is
don't say.
Bonkers. This is all bonkers. Sleeping is sleeping, and it works pretty well when you do it right.
Yep.
So I have sleep apnea, and I probably had it most all my life, and I didn't know it. And I can remember even back in like grade school on up through school, it didn't matter how much sleep I got. I would get, some days I'd get 9-10 hours of sleep, and it didn't matter. Halfway through the morning at school, I'd be falling asleep at my desk, and my parents would just be like, we got to get to bed earlier. And I'd go to bed earlier. It just didn't matter. My teachers thought I was lazy. I was staying up late at night, whatever. I just didn't know. I was tired all the time. And then a couple of years ago, someone convinced me to go get a sleep study. And it turns out I have really bad sleep apnea. Like they were amazed I was still alive.
Dave shouldn't be here.
And so I got one of those masks that helps me breathe right at night. And I can remember the morning I woke up, the first time I used it all the way through the night. Birds were singing. An immense light filled the room. The music that was playing in the background was like that. And I went, ah! And I remember asking my wife, it's like, is this how everyone feels when they wake up? How have I been missing this? This is amazing.
It happens.
Anyways, sleep's good.
Sleep is good.
Regular sleep.
Get it.
All right. All right. Welcome back to the show. And me and Cody are sitting here, and Pastor Rick comes in. Now, Pastor Rick has a little segment on our show every Monday in the 11 o'clock hour.
Which I'm excited for this Monday at 11.
Yeah, but it is Monday.
It is. I know.
That's why he's here.
Yes.
That's why he's here, Cody.
I know. I was just naming it and claiming it.
All right. Of course, as one does. So Pastor Rick comes in, and Pastor Rick, I never get to talk to Pastor Rick in this context.
True.
But he showed up. He's here a little early. So we thought, okay, let's bring Pastor Rick in and ask him questions.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So Pastor Rick, let me set the stage for you, Rick.
Okay.
Pastor Rick is at home in the pastor mansion. The one they all get when they retire, right?
The pastorium.
Yeah, the pastor cave. And you're with your wife, and it's evening time, and nothing's going on. So you turn on the TV. What are you turning on?
What am I turning on?
What does
to?
Pastor Rick turn on when he turns on the TV?
Oh, well, my wife runs the TV.
Oh, does she? Okay.
Yeah, it saves a lot of trouble that way.
And what shows does your wife like?
Let's see, Midsummer Murders.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
What's that?
We'll have to go to Pastor Rick. I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
Oh my! It's a British show, and it's all about a little community where all kinds of murders happen every week. And
That sounds like a community I'm moving out of. I got to be honest with you, Rick.
I know it's kind of scary, but it's a mystery show, and it's not too gory. It's
Right.
It's all right.
Well, it's British.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like on BBC then? Is that one of those shows?
Yes.
You probably don't follow that. You're just like, it's just on.
It's just on. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to tell everyone how old you are? No. Do you not want to say that?
I don't want to say that.
Okay. Well, what shows do you remember in the past that you used to like? Like, so I know in the 80s, I could tell people that for me, it was all about Dukes of Hazzard and the A-Team. and the Incredible Hulk. Those were my three when I was younger.
Yeah, I liked those, except for the Incredible Hulk. I wouldn't.
You get out, Pastor Rick.
This escalated. Fighting words.
Quickly.
If I had the sad Hulk music, I would play it now. Do, 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 do. Nobody loves the Hulk. He's running in slow motion away from us for eternity. Lou Ferrigno. He played the Hulk. Anyways.
Yes, yes, he did.
So you liked the Dukes of Hazzard?
Oh, sure, sure. That was an every week time when me and my daughter, who was about 6 years old, would sit down and watch the show together. And she loved that. Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. So when I am older and I reflect on when my kids are grown and what we would watch together, I watched Werewolf by Night with my oldest daughter the other night and had a great time. It's a Marvel show.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't sound as creepy as it is because it's Marvel. It's
Right.
superheroes.
Right.
But they did it in the vein of like a classic Frankenstein type horror thriller. It was in black and white and it had like those kind of moments in it. It's good. It's great. But yeah, I'll have memories like that. It won't be Dukes of Hazzard and A-Team. It'll be Captain America and, Miss Marvel.
We had a funny thing happen. There used to be a show called Seventh Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Familiar
You
with
remember
it.
that?
Yeah.
And my daughter was off in college, and her college mate said, "Nobody lives like that." And my daughter would say, "Oh, yes, they do."
Indeed.
So we thought that was funny.
That's good stuff right there. They didn't know. The
You
kids
don't
out in
know
the culture.
Unless you know.
Okay, Rick, I just want to ask you a series of questions because we so often, I know on our podcast we get people our age usually to talk,
Right.
And we don't often get to talk to people from the older generation, which you
Okay.
are. And I'm just interested. I'm gonna throw you out some our quick pop culture questions. All right.
Okay.
They won't be hard. They'll just be your favorites. All right.
Okay.
Favorite book. Can't say the Bible.
I can't say the Bible.
Yeah, we know we have a rule. It's understood that since we're pastors, our favorite book would be the Bible. So, favorite book other than the Bible.
Would probably be a John Maxwell book.
Oh, who's John Maxwell?
Oh, yeah. I do enjoy a good John Maxwell book or talk. He's phenomenal.
Cody,
He really is.
John
He's a
Maxwell.
leadership
Oh,
guy.
yeah, I know who we're talking
You
about.
know who he is.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
His dad was a pastor, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Favorite music artist.
Oh,
You can go back
It
as
is-
far as you want.
as far as I want.
Yeah. Was there someone when you were young you used to listen to?
Yeah.
Like a kid?
Maybe John Coltrane.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. See, now we're getting to know you, Rick.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now we're getting to know you. Favorite television show of all time.
My favorite television
Yeah, one that you
show
just couldn't
was-
wait till it was on. Like back how we did it in the old days when you actually had to wait to watch something. It just wasn't on demand. What was your favorite thing? You couldn't wait to watch it.
Probably Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, just the good old boys. Never doing no harm. That's me. I'm imagining me and Rick jumping over something in our car. I'm just
Hey, my car's right out here.
let's go do it. Do you have insurance?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. And favorite movie. What's your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie.
Yeah.
I don't really have a favorite movie, I guess.
No?
No,
There wasn't any
Nothing
time.
really.
Any time. All right.
nothing really comes to mind.
Can we just say it was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
Yes, let's say that.
That's a good one.
That was a good one.
Pastor Rick,
I did not think about that one, but that was phenomenal.
I now confirm you as a fellow geek of the round table.
All
Welcome.
right.
Welcome to the order, sir.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
do have a question,
Oh, okay.
but it's not pop culture related. With all three of us being pastors, what is your favorite book within the Bible?
Philippians is my favorite. I think it was
Ooh.
probably Paul's favorite church. And
Okay.
he talks a lot about joy, and it just seems to be a small church when it begins. There weren't enough people for a synagogue, but I think he loved them, and it just went back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good response.
What's yours, Cody?
I really am into the wisdom literature, so a lot of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and James. I mean, it depends on the day.
I was going to ask you, does it make me a weirdo if I say Ecclesiastes? But then you said it, so I can just be like, weirdo! No, I like, Ecclesiastes I've gotten into later. One of my all-time favorite books to read is the book of Jonah. Mm-hmm. I just love Jonah, and that's one of the first things I read. I don't know why, but it was one of the first books I read when I became a Christian. And then I started hearing like what Christians talk about within that book, and I'm like, you guys picked up all the wrong points from this. It's not about the whale.
Are you sure?
I thought I read it wrong. I was like, wait, my kid would come home with like this worksheet. I was like, wait, that's what they taught you about that book? Oh, sit down, youngster. Let me tell you what that book's about. Anyways,
That's great.
I do love Jonah and James.
It's
James
very
really is.
interesting that when I was about your age, that Ecclesiastes was my favorite book.
Yeah,
So I wonder if it's kind of a cycle thing.
it's a midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis. Okay.
It's very much a midlife crisis book. The world's terrible. Everything sucks.
It's meaningless.
All is meaningless. Yes.
I have to remind myself when reading Ecclesiastes that, like Solomon has it's unfortunate that Solomon was given all that wisdom and understanding because he sees the world for how it is before Jesus. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have that hope that's just ingrained that's supposed to cover all of what he's talking about.
Right.
And so, it's kind of depressing if you're Solomon.
A little bit.
All right, Pastor Rick.
Yes.
Thank you for indulging us and chatting with us about a little pop culture. Hey, everybody, it's Dave. Thank you for listening to our Radio Leftovers podcast. Everything you just heard is from our morning radio show on KFEX 93.1. You can hear us every morning between 8 a.m. and noon. Those are Central Standard Times on www.kfex931.com. If Christian music's your jam, go ahead and listen. You won't be disappointed. Thank you so much for listening. Coming up this week, our Friday pod, the pod that drops on Friday, our main episodes, is going to be a Be Kind Rewind episode. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you know what movie we're going to be rewinding to on our social media, so you can react to that and have conversations and whatever. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure and subscribe and give us reviews and ratings and share us. All of that helps to get more people to listen and for us to do bigger and better things. Thank you so much to you guys. We love you guys that listen, and we'll see you soon.